All right, this is RamView. I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView for February 9th, 2022. And we are that much closer to the Super Bowl coming about, and looking forward to it. Looking forward to some talk and some everything about going on with the Super Bowl, building into it. One of the things that's really interesting in terms of we go into Super Bowl week is that it's really easy to give a prediction now, but I'm saying the Rams are going to win, and I'll talk more about it later, but I'm not going to give a score. I like to give a score. I think there's courage in giving a score as opposed to just saying, they're going to win. One of the things that floated back to me was, I don't watch it too often, but Shannon Sharp, I think, said the Rams were going to win 30-27 in Tampa Bay, and that it would be a walk-off on a field goal, and the dude nailed it, right? And if anybody knows me, a couple years ago, I called the final score of the Chiefs and 49ers 31-20. I actually got it recorded there in history, right? And so we dine on those things all the time. And so I could say Rams are going to win, and okay, Rams are going to win, but I like to study it. I like to go with the gut, do some studying and figure out, and then try, as I talked about yesterday, that I'm not really quite capable of doing, try to eliminate my heart from my mind when it comes to those things. So anyway, wanted to get that out there. I did get a note. I want to thank everybody for, I got a few subscribers. I could use some more. I'd really like it if you guys click on like, please hit subscribe, because my goal is to be here at least 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday. I want to get to Mondays, but Mondays are also a busy day because I have other responsibilities, but hopefully we'll get Mondays as well. But I actually had a question. Comes from Mr. Richard Fader from Fort Lee, New Jersey, and he wrote me this. He said, "Hey, Joe T, what's up with all the hate for the Horns Up community? You're starting to make me sick." And yes, Mr. Richard Fader has read probably some of my fan views and my Ram caves and a few of my comments. And yeah, I'm very suspicious of the Rams fan base. And this comes from my youth, because I was there when I was a kid, and I saw the Rams booed unmercifully, even when they won. People forget. Well, they don't. I don't expect them to remember. But being in the Coliseum and seeing the Rams win big games, and then hearing the complaints that it wasn't stylish enough. They wanted to be like the Cowboys, because in the 70s, the Cowboys were the only team that ran shotguns sometimes. And all the freak out that would happen is Staubach would come up to center and line up behind Fitzgerald, and then all of a sudden backpedal into a shotgun, and it was like, oh no, what are we going to do? And Rams fans loved it because it was kind of glitzy, and of course the Cowboys were very glitzy, and the brand was huge even in the 70s and stuff, and the Rams fans wanted some of that, but they didn't realize they were winning. They were beating the snot out of people, driving the ball, grounding the ball, grinding the ball. Chuck Knox was winning with John Hadle, James Harris, Ron Jaworski, Pat Hayden. They brought in a beat-up Joe Namath, and that didn't work out too well. But I think if the Rams had stuck with James Harris, my personal favorite, I think things might have been different. I think maybe in that Mud Bowl game in '77, if Chuck Knox had benched Hayden and gone to the bigger quarterback with the bigger arm and the bigger hands and Joe Namath, that Mud Bowl 14-7 game might have come out a little bit different. But I digress. But the idea is that Knox wasn't going to be flashy. The Rams were winning with Knox, but there was always a complaint that they weren't stylish and flashy enough. And I think that's Rams fans, as they're very fickle. As a word that I've come to love, they're very flibberty gibbets. They're fickle. They're the mob type. And I use this as an example that loves Patrick Mahomes in 2019. Oh, Mahomes, that's my guy. That's my boy. But then they're the type that go, Patrick, huh? Who? Mahomes? What? Joe Burrow, man. That's my guy. That's my dude, man. I remember working when I was really young. I was a teenager, and I was still working in I think I just turned 20. I was working at a restaurant. I was a busboy, and boy, I got to tell you, I'm a snob, man. And I heard all the talk. It was in '85, and everyone was buzzing about the Bears. And this guy, I'll never forget his name. His name was, I think his name was Mitch, and he was a waiter. And everyone's talking about the football, and I'm listening, and I'm thinking, boy, you don't know anything. You don't know anything. This Mitch guy's, oh man, I'm a Bears man. I've always been a Bears man. And there was this part that just wanted to just go to this guy and said, well, who was the starting quarterback in 77 and 78? Who was the quarterback there in the early 70s? Do you know the name Jack Kincannon or Bobby Douglas? Does any of these ring a bell? And the guy was a poser. He didn't know the Bears were the hot commodity of 1985, and he was dancing with them. And I get that feeling about Rams fans. I'm just sorry, I do. They're the ones, by and large, that tolerate the garbage that NFL Network puts out, right? It's Super Bowl week. There's so much content to be had, and you hear discussions on, like, what do you think this player likes, the Beatles or Elvis? Peanut butter or jelly? What do they prefer? Just preposterous stuff. I don't care. And the part that bugs me is that it appeals to the lowest common denominator. They have contempt and the horns up base, that you got to say something positive about the Rams all the time. Horns up. They give standing to those like the NFL Network that treat them with contempt. And they treat the deep dive fans with contempt. They got weak comedy and top of the queue social media assessments, right? What's on social media today? And then we're going to talk about it. And then they are the first to press all the shame buttons, and I'm sure it's the producer in their ear, to virtue signal their positions on the hot social issues of the week. Right now it's Black History Month. But my proposal would be Morgan Freeman. Get rid of Black History Month. Black history is American history. But I'll make this deal. How about we talk about Black history January, skip February, and go from March to December and talk about Black history all the way through the year? How about that? Why not? Right? I tell my people at church, hey, take Easter Sunday off. Take Christmas Sunday off. Come the other 50 Sundays of the year, but take Easter Sunday off, because it makes no difference. Because in church, we're still going to be talking about the resurrection every Sunday. And we're going to talk about Black history all the time. And the reason I bring this up is because they treat you with contempt. They treat the good sports fans with contempt. And they appeal to the base, the sports bar mentality. We're better than that. If you're a Rams fan, you need to be better than that, because you got a team that's better than that. And you shouldn't be pandered to that way. And maybe some time will build up, and you'll demand more of your media. You'll demand more of how they assess the Rams and break down the Rams, and you won't accept garbage of comedy and movie references all the time. And if you had to compare the Rams season, would you compare it to what movie? After a while, that stuff it's lazy. That's May talk. That's maybe June talk, maybe April talk. But we're in the week of the Super Bowl. This game should be being broke down 24/7. I understand they want to have people watch them, but I just find it very boring, and I find it insulting in many ways. And so yeah, I'm not big on the horns up community where it's always pro Ram. No, you can say the Rams suck sometimes. It's okay. It still makes you a fan. But I'm just hesitant in all that, when you watch this you see this in the media. They're the types that, and they appeal to us as the fan. They think they're appealing. They'll call Super Bowl 53 boring. The 13-3 score between the Rams and Patriots in Super Bowl 53. They'll declare it boring. I didn't find anything boring about Super Bowl 53. If you love football, you can dive deep and digest all the good football that was played. And we have to be better than that, because don't allow somebody to give you common denominator. The Rams are a great organization, and their fans to really appreciate the experience, so it's not so ephemeral and so temporary. The Rams fans have to move on from milk, sports bar mentality, to solid food, someplace good like Republique or even Celestino's in Pasadena, and really invest in the game and what their team is doing, and see the nuance of how this organization is being run. It's fascinating, and it's such a breath of fresh air. As a Rams fan, I feel like with ownership, I've been eating at McDonald's and Jack in the Box my whole life, and now I'm going to fine dining. I'm going to places where where they replace my silverware and they plate with every aspect of the meal, and stuff. And we need to understand that nuance and appreciate it, and not just go horns up, but really see what the Rams are doing. One of those examples, I'll give you an example right now, is the Rams scouting department is amazing, right? They always find physical talent to play, but they also seem to do an amazing and exceptional job of evaluating the mental makeup of players, right? Think about this. In just in the time that McVay and Snead have been together, 2017 forward, how many prima donnas have they had in the system, and how many have they tolerated? You don't hear anything of players on the Rams generally winding up on the police block. You don't even see Rams players going Kyler Murray on social media. There's a level of maturity about these players, and that's why I think from the perception is the OBJ thing was awkward for the Rams, because we're looking at it, we're thinking, oh, this guy's all about himself, and we were buying into the narrative that was being painted. But then we get an up close look at him, and I don't know what's going to happen in 2022, 2023. But right now, that dude's been all about the team, and he hasn't tried to wedge his way into any high-profile thing. And so there's a level of maturity about him, Von Miller, Aaron Donald, these players, that it's about winning the Super Bowl. Jalen Ramsey, it's about winning the Super Bowl. They have a level of maturity. It's interesting, going back to 2018, we made the Super Bowl, and Ndamukong Suh, I loved Ndamukong Suh. It's like, man, what a guy to line up next to Aaron Donald. But I don't remember them being a big push for him being kept. I wanted him kept, but the team was ready to move on. Also, there was a couple other players in 2018 to 2019, both starting cornerbacks of Super Bowl 53, Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters. Halfway through the 2019 season, were gone. Now, Talib was at the end of the line, but Marcus Peters still had the ability to play. But we also got the sense with Marcus Peters, it was about Marcus Peters more than the team. He didn't fit the culture for the long haul, and that's what the team is. The team is the Rams are excellent at looking to build a culture for the long haul, and to deal with salary cap issues. Obviously, that makes decisions. And that goes back to the Rams' ability to draft and acquire players, and evaluate them and their mental makeup. Are they willing to wait 3, sometimes 4 years for their turn? Greg Gaines, 2019, Blanton, 2019, Nick Scott. Now think about this with Nick Scott. I believe Nick Scott's 2019 as well. Nick Scott was the upback on the punt in Indianapolis at the beginning of the season. Remember that play? I think it was week 2. I think they were in Indy. And remember the snap, Orzik snap, hit Nick Scott in the thigh in the end zone, and the Colts recovered. I remember horns up community saying, release Nick Scott. And now Nick Scott levels Deebo Samuel a couple of weeks ago, and he's our guy, man. He's our guy. Nick Scott has proven the Rams theory of draft a player, look at their mental makeup as well as their physical makeup. And, when you're drafting as late as the Rams are drafting, usually after the first 100, there's got to be something more than just talent that allows these guys to get on the field. It's got to be the motor. It's got to be cerebral. Sebastian Joseph Day and Traven Howard, these were low-round picks in 2018, and now's their time. The Rams did that with Morgan Fox. I talked about Morgan Fox the other day. They allowed him in, and then they evaluated him, and they got great clicks out of him, and then he was able to move on and get his payday. A lot of these guys are going to get their payday. You get it. But this is what the Rams do, and it's very nuanced. And I don't know if we pick that up when we watch NFL Network, or we listen to the most basic stuff on social media, or we just go with the top of the queue, what's going on. But maybe if we look at the Rams team that we've been blessed to have as fans after so much mediocrity, that's kind of saying it, a way of saying it, is that we're blessed that we got a team that's very nuanced in what it does. And again, the Kyle Brandts and the others that say, well, the Rams are successful this year, but they're not going to be successful next year. The Rams have been playing the salary cap game since 2018. They've been trading draft picks since 2016, and look what's happened. It's low-hanging fruit top of the social media queue with some of these declarations, but the Rams are a bit more nuanced, and their fans should appreciate that. And that's my argument with the horns up community a little bit. Maybe Ram fans should also cut a little slack to Les Snead and the scouting department for drafting Tutu Atwell, who has not contributed this year. Bobby Brown III, Ernest Brown IV, Chris Garrett, and Jacob Harris. Again, 2018, we didn't get anything out of Traven Howard or Sebastian Day or any of those guys probably just until this last year. And Traven Howard, not until this year. Greg Gaines couldn't get on the field. Sebastian Day played last year. Morgan Fox played last year. Asian Robinson played last year. Greg Gaines didn't get on the field until this year, and it takes some time and to develop these players. So it'll be really interesting to see going forward. Now, does everybody make it? Bobby Evans? I don't know. Bryson Hopkins? Maybe not. It's interesting to see how the Rams develop and go forward. So cut the Rams some slack on before declaring Tutu Atwell, Bobby Brown, Ernest Brown, Chris Garrett, and Jacob Harris busts. And you know what? It is fair to label a Ram draft pick. If the Rams draft somebody in the third round, that's a high-value pick. A second-round high-value pick, and you can't miss on those. And the Rams rarely do, but it's okay, even if you're in the horns up community, to say, Rams, you blew it. You need to clean up that thing. I thought it was interesting. I started thinking back to the player that walked out on the Rams in 2020. I hate Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks is soft knocks. They took a show that was really great about the cruelty and the toughness of the NFL, and now they don't want to show players getting cut. And when you watch it, all the players they follow, everyone makes the practice squad, right? And it's all very nice and sweet, and it's very yearbooky. I'm not a big fan of HBO's Hard Knocks anymore. The first season, I really loved it when I think it's Ortega Jenkins. He was the former Arizona quarterback, and Arizona University, and Brian Billick and the Ravens were coming off their Super Bowl win in 2000, and that was really interesting. And they show Ortega Jenkins leaving Long Beach and driving and going to Baltimore's camp, and he gets there, and within like a week, he's cut. And Brian Billick brings him into the office, and first thing he says, "Did you get your degree?" And Jenkins says, "No, not yet." He goes, "Well, you're going to want to get that." And the message was, "You're not going to play professional football. You need to get that degree." And there was this roughness to it, right? So I loved Hard Knocks. But if you remember, the Rams had a 7th round pick in 2020 named Clay Johnston. He was kind of the little golden boy, the little rah-rah guy, the little engine that could. And the Rams cut him and then offered him a chance at the practice squad. But instead, he went to Carolina because there was some family familiarity with the Carolina Panthers. And he kind of like walked away. And it's like, oh, man, what did we walk away from the Rams for? But he went to Carolina, got waived. But now he's on Cincy's roster. Cincy signed him, and he's gotten some snaps. And I think he's playing some special teams. He's not a starter. But how did that work out for him, man? Woo, good for him, huh? To think that maybe he could have been, and he was a coverage linebacker. Maybe he could have been in the Troy Reader spot. All right. Interesting stuff to think about. I said I was going to talk a couple things about what I was wrong about. I've been wrong about Cooper Kupp. And you're going to think, when did I talk about Cooper Kupp? Well, at the beginning of the season and end of last season, I was really worried about Cooper Kupp's knee. Remember, he blew out his knee in 2018. Last year against the Seahawks in the playoffs, he injured his knee, and it really wasn't much of a trauma. He was just pushing, and next thing you know, he went down. And I'm thinking, okay, have we gotten the best we're going to get out of this guy? We need to be thinking of the future. I was kind of concerned about him going forward, that maybe we got the best we already did, and now he's going into his 4th and 5th year. Maybe it's time to rethink his future. I was wrong. And also at the beginning of the year, I was really frustrated. My only frustration with Stafford this year wasn't the pick sixes, was the first month of the season. I kept writing in FanView in my Ram Cave column is that they were too Kupp-centric. Everything was going to Kupp. Everything's going to Kupp. Everything's going to Kupp. And that never changed. And because no one can guard Kupp. I say this in a figurative sense, that Kupp is like Steve Largent on steroids. Imagine a perfect route runner, a guy that always gets open, but with a better build and maybe a little more speed than Hall of Famer Steve Largent, who played for the Seahawks. And that's Kupp. It's true. It's becoming cliche to say, but the dude's always open, and we got a quarterback who always throws to him. So we're good, and I was wrong. The other one I was wrong about, maybe I'm not 100%, but Aaron Donald is 30. He's going to be 31 next year. And when he went down in the Seahawks game with the rib injury, that one really bothered me because, again, there was no real trauma on the play. It wasn't like someone took out his knee or anything, but it just looked like one of those age, wear, and tear injuries that kind of creep up on a player as he's about hitting 30. A lot of snaps under his belt, a lot of collisions. And I will say, there's part of me that looks at sometimes when Donald wraps up, there've been a few times this year he seems like he doesn't get to finish it. And I know that's heresy. If the Horns Up community wants to come after me on that, I totally get it. But still, Aaron Donald is a great player. And he keeps on trucking, and he's been on the field all the games this year. It was just that injury last year, the way he got injured in Seattle, made me nervous about his age catching up with him, but it still should be prescient in our thought as Rams fans, and I'm sure it is with the team, is that he's 31. He's going to be 31 in a few months. I think he turns 31 this summer. He'll play next year at 31, and that's a little bit more than middle-aged in terms of professional athlete. So I owe an apology on that. The dude is still balling. I love Aaron Donald, one of the greatest Rams ever. Put him right alongside Merlin Olsen in the DT spot. Maybe if you want to go to a 5 front, get Larry Brooks in there too. But I also, this is a hard one. I got a loyal reader named Nick Karavitas, coach, and Troy Reader. Troy Reader kills me because you watch him in coverage and it's like, please, Lord, why is he in coverage? Why does he have the green dot? Then he misses a tackle here and there, or he took that horrible angle on Deebo Samuel's touchdown catch and run a few weeks ago. He missed Fournette in the backfield. And then every once in a while, he's just in the right place at the right time. And it's like, I think I wrote, how do you solve a problem like Troy Reader? I don't know. I should give him his due. He's gotten a lot of clicks out of that body, and we should applaud him for that. With that said, I don't want him getting as many snaps as Ernest Jones and Trayvon Howard. Okay, I said that. The other one is Tyler Higbee. I know we kind of love Tyler Higbee. Higbee is not necessarily in the top tier of tight ends in the NFL. He makes a lot of catches, but if we're honest, Tyler Higbee gives a lot away too sometimes. And I could remember he had a drop, and then literally the interception pick 6 with Ward against the 49ers in the middle of the season in November. Everyone puts that on Stafford, and literally Higbee caught the ball and then just turned and handed it off to Ward, and Ward took it in for a pick 6. And I think I wrote, are we about done with Tyler Higbee? But Higbee blocks. Higbee does make catches. Higbee does contribute. And if that MCL prevents him from playing, that's going to hurt the Rams. We got to love Kendall Blanton when Kendall Blanton's done, but Higbee is better than I've given him credit for. So is Reader, and I need to apologize for that. There we go. I got those things out of the way. Now I can approach with a clear conscience the rest of the season, which, only has a few hours left in it. Again, I got a prediction, not a score, and I'll get deeper again into it as we go forward. If I can see the Rams easily winning in the blowout, and I can see the Bengals winning a tight game. Joe Burrow scares me. He really does. The best thing about this game is that for the first time in 20 years, I'm not going to see when the Rams are in a Super Bowl, I'm not going to see Bill Belichick on the other sideline. I'm going to see a guy that's even younger than Sean McVay. And so, okay, I feel better about that. Is he younger? No, actually, I think Zach Taylor might actually be older than Sean McVay, just younger in his head coaching experience. And McVay's been here before. McVay knows he can overthink things, knows he overthought things in Super Bowl 53. So hopefully that's an advantage. I do have a couple of fears in this game. What are you going to do with Jalen Ramsey? And I think Jalen has to follow Jamar. And, they want to keep, Jalen Ramsey versatile, have him cover different people because there's so many good receivers on the Bengals. I get that. But you know what? I really don't want to see the Rams give up a score or two or lose the game because in some rotation, Darius Williams is guarding Jamar Chase. Because even though the Rams should be able to get pressure, that is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's scary. And Joe Burrow is likely to know who's on who. And, Jalen's not on Jamar. Okay, I'm going to Jamar because even though Darius Williams is good, is okay, is quality, I know Jamar Chase. I'll take Jamar Chase over Darius Williams in a one-on-one. If it's Jalen Ramsey, I might have to think twice about it, right? So that's kind of where we're at on that. And I worry about that happening to the Rams going forward. So that's what I'm thinking. I just want to say thank you for clicking on and all the good things you've done, the things you said. You can follow me at Twitter and Instagram on JoeT13B, at JoeT13B on Instagram and Twitter. Subscribe. Please hit like and subscribe on this YouTube channel. And also, you could follow me and join my newsletter, which is more of a writing newsletter, at jtbank1964@yahoo.com. Thanks for your time. And we are going to go out, and we will see you tomorrow. God bless.